My fiance spent our entire savings, which we both were saving for our wedding and honeymoon, to buy a gaming PC. What's worse is that ever since he got the PC, he has totally ignored me. He has absolutely forgotten that I even exist in his life. My fiance and I got engaged in December last year. In January this year, we both together decided to save money every month for our wedding and honeymoon. In 6 months, we saved around $8,000. Last month my fiance's best friend bought a new gaming PC, so even my fiance wanted to buy one. So he asked me, but I denied it because we both already had laptops. I told him that he can play games in the laptop that he already has. He repeatedly kept asking me if he could buy a PC, and I finally agreed to it. Now I regret it so badly. After a week, the PC finally came, and with the PC, a new table and chair also was delivered. Apparently he had ordered a gaming chair and a table as well. That night, I asked him how much it all cost, and he was a little hesitant to tell me. After a while he told me, and I was distraught when I heard that he had spent our entire savings of $8,000 to buy the PC. We had a very big argument that night, and I scolded him for spending all our savings because that savings contained not only his money but my money as well, and we were saving it for our wedding. After everything I told him, his final reply was, "I will earn it all back soon." I don't trust those words at all. I thought anything worse than this couldn't happen at this moment, but it has. It has been about 2 weeks since he got the PC, and since then, my fiancé hasn't gotten up from his new chair. Ever since he got the PC he hasn't even seen my face. The only time he talks to me is when he is hungry. He calls to me and tells me to get him something to eat and drink. I call him to watch TV and he denies it, saying that he's busy. I call him to sleep together and he denies it and says that he'll sleep later. His sleep schedule has been messed up. He plays games the whole night and sleeps at 5 a.m. and wakes up at 2 p.m. He's asleep when I'm awake and he's awake when I'm asleep. From the past 2 weeks I've been so lonely that it feels like I'm alone at home and nobody to even talk to. He is ignoring me so much that I think he has absolutely forgotten that I even exist in his life. I honestly feel like his waitress nowadays because from the past 2 weeks, the only interaction we both have is him asking for food and water and me giving it to him. He has also 100% stopped doing all the house chores. From the past 2 weeks, I have been the one doing all the house chores and it's getting very hard for me to do it all alone. We used to share our responsibilities and do all the house chores together, but from the past 2 weeks he isn't even taking care of himself. He is barely even brushing his teeth and taking a bath, let alone do the house chores. Also, he is actually supposed to be working from home, but ever since the PC arrived, he hasn't even touched his laptop to work and he isn't even seeing his phone to check if someone has called or texted him anything regarding work. I'm now genuinely afraid that he might lose his job. Everything that is happening right now is so bad. I called my parents and told them about it last night and they almost had nothing to say. I'm thinking of calling his parents tonight and telling it to them, and maybe they can knock some sense into him. I honestly don't know what else to do now. I want to burn that PC. It would be very nice if someone suggested me something about this. Thank you very much for reading this and thank you very much in advance for your comments and suggestions. I sent an anonymous letter to my dad to mess with his head. My dad has committed unspeakable acts against children. He mistreated all of his children from, at least, his first 2 marriages. However, within the community, he is seen as a great guy, well loved and respected by others. He has gone to great lengths to maintain these appearances. He's a retired police officer and devout evangelical Christian. His third wife, along with his third set of children, all adults living independently now, seems unaware of the abuse he imposed on his children from his first 2 marriages. He has 7 children total, that I know of. From all of the marriages, I am a child of his second marriage. He has, to my knowledge, kept the child of his first marriage a secret from his third wife and all of my younger siblings. I only know because this mystery sibling found out about my dad's second and third marriage, and his resulting children. The sibling found me on social media and reached out to me about 10 years ago. I have not told anyone. My dad is full of secrets. I have been no contact with him and most of my biological family for many years. My dad would tell me when I was young that if anything got out about his behaviors or past, he would end his life, placing the burden on my shoulders. If I told anyone, he'd die, and it would be my fault. I have kept his secrets for the past nearly 40 years. But over the past couple of years, I've been in therapy. It's helped me work through a lot of shame and guilt, but now, the predominant feelings I have are rage and a need for justice, but justice is impossible, as the statute of limitations has long expired. Thus, I got an idea. I decided I was going to make it my mission to toy with him. I want him to be afraid. I want to cause him to feel fear, anxiety, and paranoia. I want to mess with his mind. I do not care if it results in negative consequences for him. I'm sitting here with a bowl of popcorn just watching and waiting to get to the good part. So, I sent him a card, mailed from a faraway post office, obviously without a return address. On the front of the white card, in plain black font, it just said thinking of you and had a simple line drawing of a flower, one that is, in fact, poisonous. Inside the card, in heavily altered handwriting, I wrote, "I remember, do you?" But, I also included a page torn from a Bible. The page was from Luke. I used a highlighter and highlighted the following verse: "For nothing is secret, that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid, that shall not be known and come abroad." Luke 8:17. I felt like the card and its contents were poetic, and I am amused by how perfect it was. I sent it so that it would arrive on his birthday. I plan to continue to send things to him, very randomly, to mess with his mind. I'm writing down ideas in a journal, brainstorming for other perfectly poetic ways to mess with him, to make him fear that his secrets are about to be discovered. I lived in fear of him all my life. I'd like to return a favor in some small, legal manner.
My ex-fiance of 8 years broke up with me over text 3 years ago, and disappeared. Now she is trying to rejoin our circle of mutual friends, and I am struggling with it extremely hard. Me and a girl I'll call Jessica, were a couple for over 8 years and were engaged for 3 of them. I met her through a mutual friend in my group of friends. We ended up hitting it off pretty quickly as our dorky and nerdy hobbies aligned really well. I personally fully expected to marry this person, and spend the rest of my life with her. In early 2019, her job offered her an amazing opportunity to temporarily work 4 months in the company's satellite office in New Zealand. She was an environmental engineer, to temporarily manage and lead a new team. It was very sudden, and I was not really happy with the idea, but she really wanted this chance and opportunity, so off she went. I flew out to visit her after about 2 months. Only when I arrived at the airport I got a text message from her. The message was short and more or less consisted of, she was sorry but after thinking it through, she thinks it would be best if we went our separate ways from now on. She then completely blocked me on almost every single form of social media, cell phone, etc. I was confused, devastated and became an absolute wreck. I remember completely breaking down in Auckland airport. I spent the next 4 days living at a motel basically trying to get into contact with her in any shape or form. She had apparently blocked every one of our friends from our circle. Even her close friends from our circle of friends were shocked, confused and basically lost. Even her parents were extremely confused when I called them. Her dad, who I was extremely close with, we coached Pee Wee hockey together, and played a lot of beer league for hockey together, refused to believe it at first. I was a mess for a solid year, but my close circle of friends managed to drag me out of my hellish hole along with some therapy. Her best friends became close friends to me. About a year ago, she invited some of her old close friends to her wedding, among a bunch of other people from our group. No one went, and I quickly found out, which hurt me even more. Over a year ago I started dating one of her old friends, as me and her had gotten close over the last 2 years or so. She felt quite hurt when Jessica basically ghosted her. Unfortunately there was some awkwardness because she fully knew I was not fully over my ex, but she has been a supportive and amazing person and I am extremely happy with her. Life was going great for me. Then in December Jessica apparently moved back home, after divorcing a few months after getting married. I don't know much and I don't want to know. However, she is making this hugely concentrated effort to reconnect with people in our friend group, which is resulting in some very conflicted feelings for some people. Last week I found out that Jessica and some of my friends have started playing D&D, which frankly made me feel like crap. Part of me just wants to move on from this, but I am struggling hard. While my significant other has been extremely supportive, I just feel numb and don't really know what to do. Today Jessica sent me a long Facebook message basically apologizing to me for what she did, and asked to be friends. I didn't respond and blocked her. I told my significant other, and I just felt like I was going to break down. Right now my significant other is saying she is worried about me, and keeps asking me what do I want to do. My significant other confessed that Jessica had sent her a similar message a few weeks ago, and she told her off. I don't know what I am supposed to do. I can't order my friends to not be friends with her. I just feel like a mess and I am struggling with this as I feel like I'm a teenager dealing with stupid drama again. Tomorrow I'm breaking off my engagement. Last week I, 25 male, found out that my fiance, 24 female, cheated with her boss. I'm not sure of his age but he's in his mid-40s. I also know he's married and he has 3 kids. This happened last November on a work trip while out of town. They made love 3 times. How do I know? Well, her boss's wife messaged me on Facebook and told me. She's also provided me with screenshots of texts and emails between them, graphic discussions about how they cheated on us, also how they got over on us and they joke about it. But then she'll tell him in the same text that she loves me so this can never come out. The boss's wife, who seems very sweet, I've met her at company functions before, is understandably enraged and heartbroken and is having him served with divorce papers tomorrow. She's also going to drop a friendly email to their HR department. So I'm sitting here on my phone typing this and she's across from me on the sofa on the computer planning a honeymoon trip for after a wedding she has no idea is never going to happen. She's completely oblivious to the fact that her life is going to fall apart tomorrow. I don't feel any sympathy at all since mine fell apart last week, and every time I read those texts and emails I feel like someone is impaling my heart. 3 years down the drain, I'm just thankful I found out before we got married. I guess there's that to be thankful for. She has no idea but I took a vacation day tomorrow. After she leaves for work I'm going to go around my place and collect up all her stuff, box it up and have it sitting by the door. Then I have to figure out if I can get any of the money I've already laid out for the wedding back. It was supposed to happen in October but yeah, that's not happening. And when she comes home I'm going to throw her out of my apartment and out of my life. I've debated posting all those screenshots on her Facebook page but my sister talked me out of it. I also debated calling her parents. I feel bad for them as they are such great people and I'm going to miss her family. They've accepted me as one of their own and I don't know what they're going to say, but I've decided that she can explain herself to them. I don't want to hear her excuses or her lies. At this point I just want her out of my life so I can figure out what the hell I'm going to do with the rest of my life. Update. Wow, I cannot believe the response this post has gotten. I can safely say the bomb has dropped. Around 8 or so my phone started going nuts. Calls from her with voicemails after each call. I knew right away what was going on. So I immediately called my sister to tell her that it was happening. She told me to stay strong and if I wanted her to she would come to my place and sit with me, so she's doing that. Then I had a very difficult phone conversation with my ex's mother. Jesus, I can't believe I have an ex now. Difficult because this woman has done nothing to deserve the pain I could hear in her voice. Her whole family has been nothing but accepting of me since day one. I calmly as I could explained the situation to her mother and told her that I can't find it in myself to forgive this and that I'm going to be asking her to move out. Although she was very upset, her mother seemed to understand why I feel this way. She offered as well to come to my place and help my ex get her things. I think this is a pretty good idea. Then I texted a few of my closest friends about this situation. I've been getting bombed with texts from them since, but have said as soon as I can I will talk to them, but right now I'm completely overwhelmed. I listened to one voicemail from my ex and it was what I expected, crying and asking me to call her because we really need to talk. I called her back and she didn't answer, so I started to text her when she called me. Immediately she's telling me how sorry she is. Why did I call her mom? Why did I involve other people? So I lost it and asked how she thinks I feel having to go get tested for STDs because my fiance cheated on me. Do you know how embarrassing that is? So at least she didn't deny what she did. I told her she needs to come this afternoon and get her stuff out of my place, and that we are finished. She said we'll talk more later, but I cut her off and said there's not a whole lot to talk about, is there? I also asked her how her and this guy could talk shit about me and his wife, like they made fun of her for gaining weight after having 3 kids. This poor woman didn't deserve this. I didn't deserve this. I also said something to her about not trying to say she felt pressured because the guy is her boss. Her texts show clearly that she was a more than willing participant in all this. I guess she's got to meet with HR at work today and the whole place is gossiping about the two of them. I can't feel sorry for either of them at this point. I'm already emotionally drained and it's not even 10 a.m. where I'm at. So once she's done with her HR meeting, I guess she's going to come here and get her stuff. I'm hoping it goes without much drama. My sister should be here and I hope her mom comes with her. My landlord also says she'll be around and she's also going to have my locks changed hopefully either this afternoon or tomorrow. I know this is like a long babbling post, but I was trying to remember a lot of things I said and my mind is raving right now.
Update, my twin sister, while sitting 20 feet away from me, sent me a private message to my account about how I should unalive myself. My mom smirked when I cried. Wow, so it's been nearly 3 years since I posted on this forum, desperate for help. For some reason, these posts just popped into my head after all this time, and rereading them I just want to hug my former self because I had forgotten how bad things were. I also want to hug all of you for helping me. I wrote down the advice you gave me and I used it. I really did. I may be a little vague to continue to preserve my identity, so here goes the last update to this saga, and it's a happy one. The shelter that I stayed in was very nice and brand new. The staff told me how cramped the other one was, so I'm very lucky that I arrived when I did. After the first day, my nerves relaxed and I could just breathe. There were about 7 other women there and we each had our room with a nice bathroom. I was the youngest there and the other women gave me advice about life and they even did my makeup for interviews. We each took turns cooking, per the rules, and we developed a nice rapport. The staff was so amazing and they also talked to me about life. I felt so safe at this place because of the security. Oh, I almost forgot. A church group came to give quilts they had made for us and I still have mine. Sometimes I snuggle with it and think of how far I've come. I love that quilt and I wash it very carefully. We also had group and individual therapy which really helped. I know every DV shelter experience isn't like this, but please don't be afraid to just leave when things get bad. Family counts as DV. I was able to find a job that paid more than the movie theater offered and I told them that I didn't plan on going back to school in the future. Yes, it was a lie, but there was no way I could afford rent by working at a movie theater. I decided to look for my own place instead of just staying with a friend that offered because I needed stability, and if things got bad, I didn't really have a support net and would have to start over. I had no reason to think things would go bad. But after leaving such a bad situation, I guess nothing felt secure for me. I rented a room and my roommate was never home because he was a truck driver. I didn't feel very comfortable staying with an older man I didn't know, but I had very few options. He was very nice and because our schedules never aligned, we left each other goodbye notes since we couldn't do it in person. I still have his note. I did go back to school the next semester when my medical leave was over, but not at my original school. I felt like I needed a fresh start and my family knew about the old school anyway, so I applied to different schools. I got into a great school. I told my story of everything I had survived. In the essay, when my sister told me that I wasn't going to be anything, she was wrong, and I think she knew she was wrong in her assessment of me. I graduated this year and I have stability that I've never known before. Although I'm a few years older than I wanted to be when I graduated, I realized that sort of thing doesn't even matter and the medical leave was beneficial. I just got engaged to a lovely man with a lovely family. They always tell me they're my family and I'm so close with my future mother-in-law. I had food poisoning for the first time a few days ago and my fiance left the house at 2 a.m. to get Pedialyte just to make sure I was hydrated, and when I felt like I was never leaving the bathroom, he told me he was going to make lentil soup for me. I didn't have to ask or even say anything. When I was kid and vomiting blood, my mom told me to go back to sleep. It feels nice to be treated this way and sometimes I catch myself saying, "You don't have to," when he tries to do something nice to me. Anyway, he has 6 siblings and they're like the siblings I never had. I learned to value myself and put myself first. I wasn't loved a child and so I do things for myself that I didn't get. No one made me feel special so I do it myself. I make it a point to buy flowers for myself weekly. A therapist recommended this to me and it makes a difference. No one cared that I was sick as a child so I make sure that I rest and relax without disruptions when I'm sick. No one valued my personal time or space, so I have days where I don't even answer my phone and just spend time with myself, things like that. Thanks again to everyone for helping me. When I made that last update, I was crying and I really didn't think I was going to be okay. I was headed to a shelter with a 30-day stay and I thought there was no way anything beneficial could happen in 30 days. I was very depressed and hopeless, and I had no idea things would have gone in such a positive direction.